President, Senate Republicans and the White House have finally come forward with an unemployment insurance proposal. The Republican proposal is not just misguided. The Republican proposal is a punch in the gut and a slap in the face for the 30 million Americans relying on lifeline unemployment insurance benefits. It adds insult to infection. Unemployment benefits, the ones we developed that ensured that people could pay the rent and buy groceries, are already expiring. The last payments went out Saturday. Senate Republicans and Donald Trump sat on their hands for months instead of working with Democrats. So now it appears that a lapse in benefits is inevitable. Republicans have apparently a proposal that is just unworkable. And you don't have to take my word for it. The nonpartisan experts who run the state workforce agencies, they've told the Finance Committee that any changes, even simple ones, can take months to implement. Now Republicans are talking about cutting those lifeline benefits, the ones that actually made it possible for folks to make rent and buy groceries and cover the cost of medicine and car insurance. They're talking about cutting those benefits by 2/3. They want states to make complicated changes to the unemployment insurance program that could hold up benefits until 2021. Some states are indicating that it's almost impossible to manage this altogether. The Republican proposal is cruel. In my view, it's legislative malpractice. And for the life of me, I don't know how anyone could possibly look at the state of our economy and decide what's needed is even more economic pain for 30 million Americans. It's especially insulting to America's unemployed workers that Republicans want to cut their economic lifeline in the same bill that's going to give a taxpayer subsidy to power lunches for lobbyists. My colleagues have been warned that state unemployment systems are already struggling to keep up. Some people who were laid off months ago are still waiting to receive benefits. I read about one today that's following all this from their hospital bed where they're suffering from COVID-19. There are news reports about people sleeping in their cars just to have a shot at being at the head of the line at the workforce agency. And now Senate Republicans come forward with a proposal that throws even more sand in the gears. They've been warned that this kind of proposal will be a disaster to implement. I know because I was in the Senate finance room when they were told about it. My colleagues on the other side also are arguing that the biggest problem in America now is that there are all these lazy workers sitting at home collecting unemployment checks instead of going back to their jobs. There is no evidence, not a shred, that this is happening in large numbers around the country. Come to me with one single story about somebody turning down work, and I'll tell you about a dozen out-of-work Oregonians I've spoken to, folks who cannot wait to get back to work. Oregonians and Americans who believe in the dignity of work. There was a nationwide town hall meeting on Thursday last, and people who are unemployed volunteered that if they were told in the evening that they could work the next day, they'd be there at the crack of dawn. It's insulting to American workers to suggest they're a bunch of lazy freeloaders looking for a handout. But we've been hearing that time and time again from those on the other side of the aisle who were simply unwilling to write any proposal at all. I believe the Republican proposal is also a prescription for disaster for our economy. Supercharged unemployment benefits may be the single most impactful program the Congress passed in response to the pandemic. What does it mean to cut it? The Republican plan cuts unemployment benefits by more than $10 billion per week. That opens up a terrible economic wound. It'll be a huge setback right when the recovery seems to be stalling, even going in reverse. One new analysis says cutting benefits down to $200 per week is going to lead to a loss of 3.4 million jobs. And Senate Republicans want Americans to believe that it is unemployed workers holding back the economy. Mr. President, I'll close by saying it's long past time for my Republican colleagues to get serious about working with Democrats on a proposal that has a pathway to actually becoming law and to helping people. This Republican plan doesn't do that. And just as I did on Thursday, we've been ready for months. The other body, the House of Representatives, passed a bill 2 months ago, ensuring that Americans had those funds to make rent, pay groceries, pay for essentials. Leader Schumer and I introduced our plan, the American Workforce Rescue Act. So we were all set over here to go to work with Republicans before the majority leader sent everybody home on a 2-week recess when we thought it was important to be here and to work on these crucial economic issues I've mentioned. Benefits have lapsed. Tens of millions of Americans now walk an economic tightrope every single week, balancing the rent bill against the food bill against health care costs. There is no time to waste. Senate Republicans need to work with us now on a proposal that ensures that Americans do not face yet another economic hit, as I mentioned, with some of them actually sitting in hospitals, suffering from COVID-19 and wondering how they're going to pay the bills. Mr. President, I yield the floor.